Hey guys, this is Dean Demonic. So I've been wanting to do something specifically for kids for a while because I know there are quite a lot of young viewers of Supernatural, and also I know I have a few young fans as well, and not all of my work is always appropriate for all ages. So this has been something I've been wanting to do for a while. I'm really glad now I'm getting the opportunity to do it, as well as add something a little extra as well. So I know I talked about Jack and the Beanstalk. I actually was having a really hard time finding that, and I found something else. I found Hansel and Gretel, as well as this is a really beautiful copy that I found. I found it humorous. It has this little swirl here, and just as you'll see as I'm reading along, it has these really beautiful illustrations. It's very stylized. I wanted to do more once I saw this book, and I figured doing a giveaway would be a great thing to do with it. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a voice actor. I'm not an actor in any way, shape, or form. I'm a performer, stage performer. Typically, if I don't have to talk, the better. So while I will be doing as close to Dean's mannerisms as I can, please excuse the fact that I do not have a male masculine voice. And I do not sound like Dean. That's just the way it is. But I can do his mannerisms well enough, so that is what we are going to do. So here we are, Dean Demonic, getting ready to read Hansel and Gretel as Dean Winchester for you. So Cass was telling me you weren't wanting to go to bed, kid. Well, you know, we really can't have that, but he said if I read you a story or something, would that work for you? Oh, we got Hansel and Gretel. Didn't I kill that witch? Well, pretty sure I did. So let's get into this, because when we're done, you're gonna go to sleep. All right. As all good things start, we got Once Upon a Time. Once upon a time, near a great forest, lived a poor woodcutter with his two kids, Hansel and Gretel, as the book says. Well, apparently their stepmother. When things were good, they had a little enough to eat, but when famine came to the land, the man could no longer provide their daily bread. One night as he laid in bed worrying, he sighed to his wife, "What is to become of us? How can we feed our poor kids when we have nothing to give?" Don't have kids, I guess. Kidding. "You know what, husband?" she replied. "Early tomorrow morning we will take the children to the forest and give them each a morsel of bread." Apparently she was thinking the same thing. "We will leave them there and they will never find a way back home, and we will be rid of them." That escalated pretty quickly. Let's continue on. "No, wife, I can't do that. How can I leave my children alone in the forest? Wild animals would tear them to pieces. Then they will all die of hunger," said she. She is not messing around. Better be careful. And she kept talking until at last he gave in. The children heard what their stepmother or father were talking about. "What shall we do?" wept Gretel. "Don't cry, Gretel. I will save us," replied Hansel. There you go. It's a big brother doing what he's supposed to do. Saving his little sister. She better be appreciative of it. I know some who aren't. Like I said, these are some really nice illustrations. Let's continue on. At dawn, even before the sun had risen, the woman came and woke the children. "Get up, you lazy things. We are going into the forest to gather wood." Then she gave them each a small piece of bread to eat. Then they set off into the forest. As they walked, Hansel dropped the breadcrumbs onto the path. You know, one time years ago, it's a long time, right when I went and got Sammy, we were hunting a Wendigo. I did the same thing. but it's with M&Ms. I know. Smart. Thinking. Just don't call me Hansel. That guy stabbed me in the back. The woman led the children deeper into the forest than they had ever been before in their lives. Their father made a fire to keep them warm, and the stepmother said, "Just sit there, children, and rest." Oh yeah, that doesn't sound ominous at all. "We are going farther into the forest to cut wood, and in the evening when we are done, we will come and fetch you." It's getting a little spooky. Oh, geez, I thought they were dead. Evening fell and deepened, but no one came for the poor kids. They awoke to the darkest night. Hansel comforted his little sister, saying, "Just wait until the moon comes up, Gretel. Then we'll see the white breadcrumbs I dropped, and they'll show us the way home." Again, big brother doing the big brother thing. Always listen to your big brother. Or sister, whoever. Listen to your older sibling. When the moon appeared, they looked for them, but the breadcrumbs were gone. Wow, what a shocker. We will find the way all the same," said Hansel to Gretel, but they did not. I mean, that was a pretty straightforward statement. They did not. They walked the whole night and the next day from the morning till evening, but they did not come out of the forest. Next day was the third morning since they had left their father's house. They began to walk again, but they kept going deeper into the forest. If help did not come soon, they would surely die. Don't wander off into the woods. Told Sammy a long time ago that if we were separated, to stay in one place, and I'll find him. Same thing. If you're lost somewhere, don't wander around. Wait in one place. And hopefully your big sibling will also find you. At midday, they saw a lovely little snow-white bird sitting on a branch. It sang so beautifully that they stood still to listen. Don't do that. Just keep walking. Don't listen to birds. Don't. Witches and birds and familiars, just leave them out. When the bird had finished, it spread its wings and flew off ahead of them. They followed it to the cottage where it perched on the roof. See, that's what I told you. Birds and witches. That does not look like candy. When Hansel and Gretel came closer, they saw that the cottage was made of bread and roofed with cakes, and the windows were made of sugar. "Where's the pie?" "We can have a feast," said Hansel. "Not without pie, you can't. I want a piece of the roof, and you can have some of the window." These children are climbing all over this house and eating it. But again, there's no pie, so I don't even know what they're going after. As they began, a gentle voice called from inside. "Oh man, kid, I don't want to read this part." "I gotta?" "Alright, but I ain't doing it in a weird voice." "Nibble, nibble, munch, munch, who's chewing on my house?" And out crept an old woman. "Oh, my dear children, whoever brought you here, come in and stay with me. No harm will come to you." I guess we'll turn the page. She took them by the hand and led them into her cottage. There she served them a good meal. Milk, pancakes, sugar, apples, nuts, and sweets. There's still no pie. I don't understand. We have cake, we have pancakes and sweets, but where's the pie? There's no way you're gonna get me in there if there's no pie. Afterwards, 2 soft little beds were made up, and Hansel and Gretel laid down in them, and felt as if they were in heaven. But the old woman was only pretending to be kind. She was a wicked witch. What a surprise. Who lay in wait for children, and she had built her cottage of sweets so as not to bring them to her. Whenever she caught a child, she killed it, cooked it, and ate it. Witches. They're just so gross. Oh, well, I did not know that. Witches have red eyes and cannot see well, but they have a good sense of smell, like animals, and can tell if people are near. When Hansel and Gretel had come into her part of the forest, she laughed wickedly, saying, "I have them, and they will not get away from me." This is quite an elaboration on witches. But you know what? If they look like that, it'd be easier to kill them. Early next morning, as she looked at the children lying there so peacefully with their soft pink cheeks, she murmured to herself, "They will make a tasty meal." She watched them for a bit, like vampires, standing there being all creepy in rooms watching people sleeping. Or angels. Supernatural freaks. Then she grabbed Hansel with her skinny hand and dragged him out and shut him in a small kennel. You know, that happened to me once. Then she went to Gretel and shook her awake. "Get up, lazy bones. Fetch water and cook something for your brother, who is outside in the kennel to be fattened. When he is fat enough, I will eat him." Again, witches are gross. I can't say it enough. Gretel began to cry, but it was no good. Yeah, kids, witches don't care if you're gonna cry. You gotta push him in the oven. Each morning, the old witch crept out to the kennel and called, "Hansel, stick out your finger so that I can feel how fat it is." Instead, Hansel held out a small bone. With her dim eyes, the old witch thought it was his finger. Smart. Because apparently witches can't see well. After 4 weeks had passed, she was overcome with impatience and would wait no longer. "I've heated the oven," said the witch to Gretel. "You crawl in and see if it's hot enough." Pretty sure you never have to crawl into an oven to find out if it's hot. Just do this. Don't crawl in ovens. But Gretel guessed what she had in mind. "How can I get in? It's too small." "Like this, you silly goose," said the witch. She hobbled forward, and as she stuck her head in the oven, Gretel gave her a hard push and slammed the door. "Yeah, there you go. Push her in the oven." The witch began to howl dreadfully, but Gretel ran away, and the wicked witch was burned to death. That's how you do it. You gotta burn those witches. Gretel ran straight to Hansel and opened his kennel and cried, "Hansel, we're free! The old witch is dead!" Oh, how happy they were. Reading this is ridiculous, kid. You better sleep after this. Hand in hand, they went into the witch's house. In every corner there was chests with pearls and precious stones inside. Hansel put so many into his pockets as they could hold, and Gretel filled her apron full. You know, this one time, there was dragons, and there were little piles of gold. They were just everywhere, and, you know, Sam, he just didn't see opportunity when it's right in front of him, but I got a lot of pockets on those jackets. Alright. Now we must go, said Hansel, so we can escape this witch's forest. After walking for a few hours, they came to a lake. Someone made a little cameo right there. Alright. Alright, well, can't believe I'm going to say this after the beginning, but now things get weird. Gretel called to a white duck. Duck, duck, help Hansel and Gretel. There's no bridge and no track. Take us on your little white back. There's a duck now. The children ride ducks. Oh. The good little creature did so, and after they were safely across and gone on for a while, the forest began to look more and more familiar. Finally, from a distance, they recognized their father's cottage. Yeah, now you can go ask him where he's been. I don't know anything about fathers abandoning their children. The man had not a single happy hour since he left the children in the forest. But never mind, we are not going to talk about fathers. His wife had died. Gretel shook out her apron so that the pearls and precious stones rolled around the room, and Hansel drew out a handful after another from his pockets to add to them. Then all their troubles were at an end, and they lived happily ever after. Wow, that was a nice wrap-up. That's not the way I normally remember stories going. Alright. And there we have it. Alright, kid. So, this book will be going to someone. What you need to do to get your chance to win it is I need you to share this video on your page, and that's all. And I will then draw from all the names of people who do it, and whoever wins, I will send you this book. And right now, I'm even going to sign it for ya. Alright, now go to sleep from Dean Demonic.